Oh, what's on my mind? Just coming off the high that is graduation and commencement. We had, for the first time, two fantastic commencement celebrations. We had one at Carnegie Hall celebrating our MD students and our PA students. Absolutely terrific to be able to hand out diplomas to our graduating doctors and our graduating physician assistants. Later that afternoon, equally fantastic, a graduation ceremony at Carnegie Hall for our graduate students. We were able to hand out over 200 diplomas to the master's degree students and somewhere in the range of about 70 or 80 PhD diplomas. It's always a great day, a lot of smiles from students, smiles from their families, smiles from their friends, and of course, a stage full of really proud faculty, staff, and trustees. Just a great day, and that is on my mind today. I am totally excited about trying to revamp our clinical research portfolio here at Weill Cornell. My longstanding belief is that we should consider every patient encounter as a research opportunity. This is good for patients. This is good for science. Studies have shown that patients that participate in clinical trials have better care characteristics than patients who don't. In other words, they're more likely to get more evidence-based medicine than those patients who are not in clinical trials. That's always made sense to me. What hasn't made sense to me is how difficult we can make it sometimes for our patients to participate in the research process. So you're going to see over the course of the next year at Weill Cornell, under the leadership of Dr. Trip Gullick, who is our Chief of Infectious Disease and the new Associate Dean for Clinical Research, you're going to see an increased emphasis on what can we do to make the research process easier for investigators, and what can we do to make the research process by extension easier for participants. So stay tuned. This is going to be a big focus of the next academic year. Men's Health Month is June, and it's something that I think is worth talking about, thinking about, really promoting here at Weill Cornell Medicine, and that is the health of men. We absolutely are supporters of and think a lot about women's health, but in June, we're going to turn our attention to men. Why is that? Sometimes we forget that men have a lower life expectancy than women, almost 5 years lower here in the United States. And that while men and women both, as the leading cause of death in the United States, have heart disease and cancer as those causes, men have some other troubling higher risk of accidents and injuries. Suicide is much more common in men than in women. So there are things that men are dying from that I think are worth all of us thinking about from a societal perspective. And then we at a medical university, how can we take better care of our men? How can we promote healthy behavior in men? How can we make sure that men are getting addressed the health problems that need to be addressed? And maybe if I were to leave one message in June for my fellow men who want to promote good health, and for women who want to encourage the men in their life to get good health: exercise, 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 exercise. Helps with mental health, helps with heart health, helps reduce the risk of some cancers. Let's think about June as a great month to start promoting exercise for our men at Weill Cornell Medicine. One of the great things about being at a medical university is trying to move discoveries, trying to move ideas actually closer to where they might actually benefit patients and improve human health. And there's a lot of steps along the way, but I think of two critical steps. The first is moving a discovery, an idea, to intellectual property. This often involves filing for things like patents or a license, where we can put our stake in the sand, if you will, around that intellectual property. The second step is taking that intellectual property and getting into the commercial space. That might be by licensing it to someone. That might be by forming a company. That might be by selling it outright to somebody, and so they can take it to the commercial space. All of those steps are really important. We're really good here at Weill Cornell at the first step of declaring intellectual property. We're kind of middle of the pack compared with our medical university peers in getting to the next step of commercialization. We have a lot of people who want to help us here. We have a terrific office of technology and licensing, and Lisa Placanica's team does a fantastic job. Our board helps us on multiple levels. And a lot of our graduates, interestingly, particularly from the graduate school, many of our alums have gone on to successful careers as entrepreneurs, as investors, and they're very interested in trying to see if they can help out to give back. So stay tuned. This is a big area of emphasis for us here at Weill Cornell in the coming few years. We just had the first healthcare conference for healthcare educators, a OneCornell Health Conference here on the campus of Weill Cornell Medicine. This brought together our colleagues from the veterinary school in Ithaca and the medical school here at Weill Cornell in a way to really exchange ideas, exchange experiences, exchange research on how does one educate in the clinical setting, whether it's on animals or in people. So, for example, some of the topics that were addressed is how does one teach clinical reasoning to veterinary students and to medical students? What are some of the commonalities that one might think about in the educational space? I thought that this was a fantastic idea, but hey, don't take my word for it. Several hundred people registered for the course. People from across the United States, people outside the United States. We did have colleagues from Qatar, our medical school in Doha, joining us. It really resonated with people to how do you approach things like clinical education from different perspectives, the veterinary perspective or the human medical school perspective. Great feedback from the course. I think we're going to be doing more of this, and I'm really pleased to see that a place like Cornell that's unique in having a veterinary school that's world-class and a medical school that's world-class be able to come together to do this.